This episode of the Good Living Now podcast is sponsored by our friends at Cravings. Now, I've had almost every brand of juicer on the market since I started my healing journey in 2015. But the Cravings Auto 10 has been a complete game changer. It's easy to use and easy to clean. Plus, I'm able to make smoothies as well as sorbets and plant-based milk. So use my code JUICEGUY and save 10%. All right, you know what to do. Get your juice on. Welcome to the Good Living Now podcast, where we talk to real people about real change leading to real health. I'm your host, Harold Leffall. And my guest today, well, he says he went from meathead to meatless. Now, you're going to be surprised that he's meatless because the brother is super ripped and he's aging in reverse. Welcome to the show, Almon Johnson. Hey, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm excellent. How are you?
Man, I'm so glad to have you on the show. When I first saw you on social media, probably about a week ago, is when I first discovered, about 2 weeks ago, I first discovered you. I started going through all your videos. And I was like, this brother looked like he's about my son's age. And my son will be 27 next month. But brother, you're almost 40. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I have to have him on the show to let us know what he's doing to be aging in reverse. Now, you are vegan, right?
I've been vegan, yes, since 2017. So almost 8 years. So yeah, 100%.
Okay. And man, so tell us what kind of led you on this journey from being a meathead. This is what you call yourself. You used to be a meathead and now you're meatless. What led you on this journey?
So yeah, well, the from meathead is because, a typical person that I was like a football player and then I was doing bodybuilding after that. So I was eating, 3 pounds of meat a day. That was a normal thing for me. So that's where I get the meathead from. And then I went to being meatless, and it started January 2010. I had a, for lack of a better term, a spiritual awakening, where, that's a whole different thing. I don't want to go too much into that, but basically that led me to being exposed to veganism. And the first time I saw somebody that was vegan, it was a girl. She was eating. It was on YouTube, funny enough, which I'm on now. But she was eating like a fruit platter, and it was like a huge plate of fruit. I'd never seen anybody eat that much fruit. I didn't even know anybody did that, and it was just beautiful. It was all these different colors. It was like a rainbow, and I was like, "That's how we're supposed to eat." And I was like, "One day I'm going to eat like that," and that was the seed. The seed was planted then. But it wasn't until 7 years later in 2017 that I actually went ahead and I had the confidence to do it, because until that point, I thought if I did that, I would lose all my muscle. So
right.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people think. A lot of people think you have to eat meat in order to build muscle. But how did you even know what to do in terms of kind of changing your diet? Did you have like any mentors, or did you have any books? Or what was it that kind of educated you on what to do?
Yeah, so I didn't have the confidence to do it until I saw a couple of people. So there were some vegan bodybuilders that were killing it, and there was Tori Washington, there was Nimai Delgado, and these guys are professional bodybuilders, right? They have great physiques. And I was like, well, okay, they're vegan and they're doing it. And so I saw them, and then I watched the movie Earthlings, and that was it. After Earthlings, I couldn't eat meat anymore. And I knew that I could build muscle and do it. So it started with that. And then when I first started, there was a lot of trial and error. Because I didn't really know that much about what I was doing, even though I've been a personal trainer since 2009. So I'm familiar with nutrition. So what I initially did was I just substituted the meat that I was eating with a vegan substitute. But I was doing, like, let's say if before I was doing a chicken and rice and spinach. Well, now it'd be beyond chicken or beyond beef and rice and spinach. And I did that for months, right? I started that early 2017. Then by the winter of 2017, I got the flu 4 times, man. And I was eating a lot of processed food, right? So it was all processed. And I got sick 4 times. I said, man, something has to change. So then I decided to cut out the processed food, replace it with whole foods, and and then that was it, man. I didn't get sick for the next 5 years at all.
Wow. And
Yeah,
that happens a lot of times when people are transitioning to like eating the standard American diet to eating a more plant-based diet. They tend to be first introduced to the processed foods like the Beyond Meats, and those things are not healthy at all. I remember when I first started changing my diet and I began to eat vegan, I actually started gaining weight and I wasn't looking my best. And when I started looking at all the ingredients in the foods that I didn't realize was processed, meat, and realized it was high in sodium and it had all these chemicals in it. I'm like, well, this can't be healthy.
that's right.
And for me, I was like, wait a minute, this is not better than what I was eating before.
Yeah.
It may be quote unquote vegan, but it wasn't better. So that's interesting, because just because it's vegan does not mean it's healthier.
Not at all. Yeah, not at all. So
Yeah.
so yeah, that was my intro. I got sick 4 times.
Wow. Wow.
And I said something got to change. So then I switched it to the whole foods. And when I first did that, to tell you the truth, I was, I lost some weight because whole foods, a lot of fiber, you can't eat as much. And so I did lose some weight at first. So it took me time to get into the groove and figure out how to make it work. There was a learning curve for sure.
Right. Now, when you first transitioned from eating meat, did you have cravings for it as you were, first starting your vegan journey? Did you miss eating it?
Never. No. I would say firstly because I watched Earthlings, and I don't know whoever's seen that out there. It shows you what happens, in the slaughterhouses, and it's a tough thing to watch. So I watched the whole thing. So maybe that had something to do with it. And then also you have to understand, since I was 18, I had been eating like 3 pounds of meat a day every day. So I was eating for performance. I wasn't so much eating because I wanted to eat that much meat. So I was tired of it, I was happy to be retired, to be honest with you. Yeah, so no, I never had a craving. No.
So one of the common questions I get being vegan and not being thin is protein. What do you do for protein?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm raw vegan. I've been raw vegan on and off for the past 2 years, but for the better part of the past 2 years. So even more so, it's like, where do you get your protein? But when I'm eating cooked foods, my protein comes from things like quinoa, tofu, fava bean tofu, sometimes seitan, beans. It comes from beans, legumes. It comes from seeds. Maybe a little bit from nuts. And when I'm raw, it comes from seeds, a little bit of nuts. It comes from greens. I eat a lot of greens. And that's it. You get a little bit of protein from fruit, but you don't need as much protein as most people think, believe it or not. Yeah, I don't get near as much protein as you would think, like not even close.
So. And you're not a little guy. You're 6'4" and 230 pounds, right?
Yeah. So not a little guy at all. No. So, and I might get 50 to 100 grams of protein. I know I don't get 100. I might get 50 to 80 grams of protein at the most right now.
And and I think we've been given a lot of misinformation about protein, and I think we've been told that we need more protein than we do. And I think that's why a lot of people deal with things like high blood pressure, that sometimes lead to strokes and hearts because they're getting actually too much protein in their diet.
Right, put stress on the kidneys, and that leads to the things that you're talking about. So yes, absolutely, I agree.
And then, so you were vegan first, and now you're high raw vegan. Now, what made you switch to high raw?
So actually, right now I'm 100% raw. Right, so I'm 100.
Okay.
Yeah. So high raw, I was doing 1 cooked meal a day, but I'm 100% raw. I've been 100% raw for the most part for 2 years. And what made me switch to that was, to be honest with you, it's the living foods. I feel so good eating the living foods. It's it's easy, it's simple. I don't have to cook, you know. I cook for my sons. I have two sons, right? So I cook for them, but me, I don't have to cook. Um, but yeah, it's simple. The nutrition content, the enzymes of the living food. I noticed a long time ago that the more living food I eat, like the more salad I would have, the better I would
Right.
feel. So I just put two and two together. I said, what would happen if I went completely raw? You know, would I feel even
Right.
better? And sure enough, I went completely raw, and I'm like, I sleep better. I have even more energy. So yeah.
Yeah, man, I started my raw vegan journey in January of this year.
Did
And
you?
man, I have never felt this good in my life. I've been vegan for over about 5 years, but January I started my raw vegan journey, and man, the clarity that I have, the amount of energy, and you just feel like I feel more alive.
Me too.
And I don't miss it. I don't miss, cooked food. I had cooked food twice in the last 9 months, for my birthday, and then I went to New York. And afterwards, I just didn't like how I felt, and I was like, why did I do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the way I feel is I can't even explain. It's something that you can't even explain.
Yes. Yes. It's to me, it's like, oh, I'm supposed to feel this way. That's how I feel.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned you have two sons.
I do. Yeah.
How are they teenagers? How?
Yeah. One is 12 and one is 16. So yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and are they vegan?
They're vegan. Yeah. They've been vegan for as long as I have, you know.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Their own choice too. I didn't force them or anything like that. But yeah, they're vegan.
Wow.
They're not
That's
raw.
awesome.
They're not raw,
Yeah.
but they're vegan.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome,
Mhm.
man. Yeah, that is really awesome. Now, how does that work when they go to school? Do they take their own food or?
Yes, exactly. So they'll take
Okay.
their own food, and it's simple. It's really simple because
Hmm.
you know sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, fruit,
Right.
and like that. So
Right.
it's really simple. And of course,
Mm.
they get a lot of questions. You know, I get a lot of
Mm.
questions, but
Right.
you know, it's part of it. You know, we
Right.
represent travel.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, what's a typical day of eating for you at 6'4", 230 pounds? Like, what would be a typical day of eating for you?
I eat a lot, dude. I eat a lot. So that's the thing is you have to eat enough calories, right? So it's not so much
Mhm.
protein, but you do need the calories. So I probably eat 4,000 or more calories a day,
Wait,
and
4,000?
or yeah, 4,000 plus.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So and I'm not meticulous about tracking because
Right.
I know what is in what. Um, and I make sure to get my variety of nutrition that I need in the day, but I'm not meticulous
Hmm.
about the calories. But I know it's over 4,000. And so a typical day, I do intermittent fasting. So I'll do 3 meals a day, sometimes four. So I don't eat breakfast, and then when I do eat it, it tends to be a smoothie because it's convenient. And in
Hmm.
that smoothie, I'll grind some flax seeds or some chia seeds. I'll put some water. I'll add some distilled water. I'll put bananas. I'll put maybe peaches, maybe mangoes,
Mm.
wild blueberries in there or strawberries. I'll put what else do I put in there? Some cacao, maybe some raw cacao, possibly. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, that tends to be about it. So I'll have that. That'll be a smoothie, and then with that smoothie, I'll have some more fruit on the side, right? Because I can only fit so much in the
Hmm.
blender. And
Hmm.
so I'll have more fruit, and that fruit a lot of times tends to be dates. My favorite is the coconut date rolls from Sprouts. Um,
Mm.
and, so I'll have that, and then I'll have some greens with that. My favorite green is arugula. So usually it tends to be arugula, and I'll just eat the arugula just like straight up, like by itself,
Mm.
because it resets my taste buds. So when I'm like if I'm drinking my smoothie and I'm having some
Wait. You just eating wait. You just eating
straight,
arugula with nothing on it. Just wow. Okay.
straight like that. Yeah.
Man, that's gangster. You real gangster. You eat like that. No dressing or nothing, just the arugula. Okay.
I do just the arugula. And you know, it's I mean, I've done like I did the dressings for a long time, and It's about convenience for me, but also, again, even before I was vegan, since I was 18, I've eaten for a result. So it's for me, it's sustainable to do that. For a lot of people, it's not sustainable to do that. So if you're thinking, well, I shouldn't, put dressing or something like that. No, you should. Like if you enjoy it, you should, because it's about that sustainability,
Right.
So.
And man, like I said, you're almost 40, looking like you my son's age, and you got a six pack. Now, we all want to know, particularly, as you get older, folks feel like the metabolism starts slowing down. What should folks be doing to stay lean and fit and get a six pack, as we get older? What should we be doing?
So a lot of I'm a trainer, so a lot of my clients are in their 40s and 50s. Most of them are in their 40s and 50s. So yes, I'm very aware of the status quo and how the metabolism, slows and people have trouble losing things or keeping things, depending on what they want to do. But yeah, the things we should do are, first of all, we should know nutrition, right? So we should have a basic grasp of nutrition. So certain things like, if you're vegan in particular, you should be getting B12. If you're deficient in B12, that's going to cause a problem with your energy levels, which is going to cause a problem with your metabolism, and you're going to have trouble losing weight. You're going to have trouble working out. Also, iodine. A lot of people are deficient in iodine. So if you're not having some sort of seaweed or something like that every day, then you could be deficient in iodine. Your thyroid is not going to be producing the proper amount of hormones for you to have your metabolism where it needs to be as well. So some of this stuff can be nutritional deficiencies, and some of it is the metabolism does slow down, but it's not always like, it doesn't slow down that much, right? So making sure we're getting the basic nutrients that we need by using a simple app like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer, do it for a week, do it for 2 weeks, and figure out, okay, I'm missing XYZ, and then just figure out what foods have those things and then incorporate them into whatever it is. Like a lot of times you can easily incorporate them right into your, whatever you're already doing, so that, and then also people should be exercising. I know that's common sense, but people have to exercise and they have to do it. It's not necessarily enough when you get past 40 to just do cardio. You might have to, might want to lift weights, because building muscle will build your metabolism as well, because the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn. So yeah, building that muscle, hitting the weights, and getting some money for men and women.
Right. Now, what kind of weight training do you do? What's your workout regimen?
So I train with weights a lot less than people would think. I train with weights 4 times a week for about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. And then in the other days I do cardio. So for me, it's just, my weight training is super simple. I show up and I hit everything once a week. So the first day will be chest, triceps, abs. The second day will be a back, biceps, and forearms. The next day will be legs. The next day will be shoulders, and I'll hit abs another day in the week. And that's it. The rest is just cardio.
Now you're doing about 1,000 ab exercises, 1,000 sit-ups. What are you doing?
That's a common misconception. So I work at my abs for about maybe 10 to 20 minutes a week max, right? Because each workout it takes me about 10. So when I work abs, I go for it, but I go for it for 10 minutes straight. And then that's it. I hardly rest in that 10 minutes. And I'm just hitting the abs from every different angle, and I'm doing that for about 10 minutes. And then I may do that a second time in the week, but that's it. The rest of it is abs are made in the kitchen. So you have to, because everybody has a 6-pack underneath their, whatever they have there, but they just.
Man, I've been trying to find mine for a couple of years. You see, I've been trying to find, but okay.
You already have a 6-pack. So the reason why I work my abs is just to develop it a little bit more. But to be honest with you, everybody has a 6-pack. It's just under the fat. So revealing it is usually about building more muscle, cutting back a little bit on the calories, and revealing what's already there. because it's there.
That's good. Revealing what's already there. That gives us all hope. There's
hope for everybody. Yeah.
Now, what advice would you give to someone that may be 40 or 50 and they've never exercised? Maybe they never had to exercise because they were just naturally thin and have noticed that they don't feel their best, they're not looking their best, and they're wanting to make some changes to their diet. What advice would you give them in terms of getting started?
I would say, first of all, you have to understand that there's going to be a learning curve. So you have to give yourself, the grace to be like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm doing. So then you have to take the time to learn. And, working with someone can be a quick jump start to learn things that would take you maybe years or hours that you don't have, because maybe you have kids and grandkids by that time. And so maybe you want to get some guidance when it comes to that. But, there are many free resources out there too, like on YouTube, on Google, these kinds of things. So I would say start there, start to learn about nutrition just a little bit, start to learn about eating in a caloric deficit, start to learn about the proper macronutrients that you need. Start to learn a little bit about exercise, adopt an exercise routine, make it simple and sustainable. Even if you can commit to working out for 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week, even if it's only 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week, you're going to start stacking some wins and getting some momentum in the right direction. So don't think that, either I have to work out 6 hours a day or it's not going to do anything. Like that's not true. You want to do something sustainable, simple, that you can stick to. And once you build the habit and start seeing results, you can build on that. So I would say just take it a step at a time.
That's good. So just get started, and be open to learning.
Right, exactly.
And get some support. Yeah, and get some support. That's awesome. So now, Almon, if somebody wants to go from meathead to meatless and they want to get in contact with you, where can they find you on social media or to reach out to you?
Thank you, man, for offering that. So you guys can reach me at From Meathead to Meatless on Instagram, From Meathead to Meatless on YouTube. My email is frommeatheadtomeatless@gmail.com. So just From Meathead to Meatless everywhere.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, man, thank you so much for letting us know what's possible, and that no matter how old you are, you still can be ripped and we all going to find our 6-pack eventually, because you say it's there. So we're going to find that.
It's 100% there. Yeah.
Well, man, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Harold. Thank you for having me.